Welcome to Modeling Time with me, Brian Banna, and the next installment in this RS11 project. It's getting a little bit more than what I expected it to be. The more that I work on it, the more that I see some things that I can do. Now, one of the comments was that they couldn't believe that I'm not doing the steps for the step wells. Well, the project's not over yet, and I'm going to have to do another photo etch run, so I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. The problem is right now is I don't know what the steps look like. I don't know if they're rectangular grates or they're holes or what, so I haven't found a picture yet that gives me a good view of the RS11 steps. Now there is one at my old stomping grounds when I lived in Illinois at the Illinois Railway Museum, but I'm like 14 and a half to 15 hours away from there right now. So it's not like I can just go out there and get some measurements and photographs and stuff like that. I might make a trip out there in a couple months, or I might just wait till the St. Louis RPM meet to go out there, make a side trip and do that. But I do want to do the steps, so that'll get done. I've got some things going here that I want to show you real quick. But before I break away, this Saturday, I'm going to go down to Georgia, the Georgia State Railroad Museum. They have a GP35, a Southern GP35 with AARB trucks on it, which are the same trucks that I'm using on this model. So I'm going to go down there and measure them. So let me show you what I've got going. I get the camera set up, show you what I've got going real quick, and then just break off and end the video. I don't want to let a whole lot of time go between videos to think that, oh, this project is done. I'm really enjoying the design phase of this project. Everything's working out well, so let me get all set up and show you what's going on. All right, my workspace right now is an absolute disaster. It's pretty much a mess, but I'm working on a lot of designs at the same time. Like typically I go from the bottom up: trucks, fuel tank, frame, sill unit, hood, that way. Right now, because I'm waiting on photo etch to finish the deck, I'm kind of just going all over the place and trying new things. So real quick, I've got the tread plate taken off of the deck, so that's all ready for the new tread plate. Like I said, I will be doing steps. I'm going to need to cut these steps out. The way that I'll get them out, because I was thinking to get all this out, I would have to drill or cut all of this out on the inside, but I don't think I have to do that. I think I can drill holes through the tops of these and cut them out. This area right here between the middle step and the top step, that's actually should be an opening. So I'll see if I can't open that up and then cut this top step out. And my plan is just to leave a shelf to glue the photo etch steps on. So, but again, I need to find out what they look like before I can do that. So, like I said, I had mentioned I was going to go down to Georgia to the Railroad Museum. So in preparation for that, while I was waiting to do stuff like that, I've located, let me get this off of here so you can see what I did. Come on. There we go. So what I did is I made this block, and actually what it does on the drawing itself, this rectangular piece here is only to hold the location of all the parts on the back side of the truck. So let me zoom in a little bit. Make sure that stays focused. Let's see if we can get it in focus here. Come on. There we go. All right, so that's what I've got done there. And if you look on the back of the truck, actually I cut one up so it lays flat. So I've got these, let me move this in more. I've got, there we go. So I've got these bumps, which are these and these. What those do is they stand the pickup strip off on the inside so it doesn't go up against the side frame. The same with these U-shaped parts here and here, and this around the pin that the what do they call it? You know, the bottom, this clip goes over and holds this thing in place, holds everything in place. So I've got that pin, I've got these pins that go through these large holes, and then these holes here are to locate the axle centers. So these are the, of course, the axle centers where they go through the pickup strip. So if I put that on here, they fit perfectly right in there. So when I designed the truck side frame, which I started to here, and that's when I decided to go and go down and measure it and get real dimensions, because I was using these side frames to get, you know, all these dimensions and stuff. It's like, I should just go. It's only 4.5 hour drive, so I'll go down there for the day and get all the dimensions I need so that I can build a real AAR B truck. Now my plan is all the parts that are plate steel, that are cut out of plate steel, those will be photo etched. All the parts like the frame that are cast, that'll be done in 3D printing. So that's my plan. If it all comes to fruition, there's going to be a really cool, highly detailed AARB truck. So I'm looking forward to that. If that doesn't work out, you know, it was a fun adventure, and I'll just go back to using, you know, the regular trucks that came with the model. So, you know, we'll see. You know, keep your fingers crossed that I can be successful with it. It'd be kind of cool. So that's the plan for the trucks. So that's why I have to do another photo etch session, is all the plate steel parts I need to get photo etched. So that's when I'll do the steps and stuff like that. So that takes care of that. The next thing I did after the last video is I got all the stanchions. Let me move all this stuff aside. I got all the stanchions printed. So we got a bunch of stanchions. So there's a bunch of stanchions. So they work out pretty good. Here's everything on a piece of wire. So, and when I put this on the sill unit and I put it on the model, I could put some pretty good pressure on, or tension on here, and it wouldn't snap the points where the brass goes through, or the bronze goes through the stanchion. So they're pretty robust. I mean, I'm not gonna let anybody handle my models. You know, I reserve the right to destroy my own models. And if anybody goes in there to reach it, I'll say, hey, you know what? You got a deposit of $6,000 you want to put down on that model before you handle it, that's fine. But again, I reserve the right to destroy my own models. The next thing I did, which I'm really excited about, somebody had mentioned why I'm not going to use, or had asked why I'm not going to use KV Models photo etch stuff. And I do have some KV model parts here, the radiator. Let me zoom back a little bit. The Radiator Grill. And they're nice parts, they really are, but they just don't give me the look that I really want. So what I did is I started playing around with printing my own radiator grills. I have, from a long time ago when I lived in Illinois and used to go out to the museum a lot, I got up on top of the RS11 and I took some good pictures of these the radiators. And the way that they're built is there's two half circles, and then those are welded inside of a ring. And there's a gap between the two half circles that's about equal to the thickness of the bar that they use, like a 1/4 inch or 3/8 or something like that. I don't know exactly what it is. But I have all the, because of the pictures I took, I know how many rectangles are supposed to be on each side. I mean, they're the same on both sides, but I know how it is. The way these are built is these bars that go in the direction of the hood, front to back, those are like 1/4 inch or 3/8 by 1 or 1.5 bar stock. The bars that go perpendicular, those are square bar stock that has been twisted, and then they're welded into welded into notches on the rectangular bar stock. So it's pretty cool. Now I didn't do that, but I did make these divide these out and get the appropriate amount and made them look like they do on the prototype. So when they come out of the printer, they're kind of wavy and they don't look really good, but as soon as you cure them, they tighten up and they straighten out. Now I did have to, these are 6/1000 wires, so I made the thickness of these bars 6/1000 and or 0.006, and the thickness of them are 20/1000, so from top to bottom is 20/1000. The ring around it is 6/1000, but that's just not holding this together really well, so I bumped it up to 10/1000, and it, a few thousandths makes a big difference. The next test I'm going to do is to make these bars 7/1000. A thousandths can make a huge difference in how well they print and stuff like that. Although they printed well, they're still a little wavy in the perpendicular direction. But the thing about this resin is when it comes out of the cure station, it's still slightly soft, so it takes some time for that to harden up. Overnight, they will shrink a little bit. And the benefit of that, although the shrinking on your parts is not really good, but on this part, it's a benefit because, let me show you why. Now this one had a part stick, one of the grills stick together, so there's a hole in it right here. But this is the grill that I just put in, and I glued it from the bottom. If there's a gap around the ring, that's okay, because on the prototype there's a slight gap between the grill and the ring, the outer housing. So if you get a gap there, that's okay. Now the way that these are held down is there's 4 bolts here, 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 and here, and they're the 9th grid out from the center. So I was able to get that in. So what I did is I made some bolts here, and then I drilled holes through the grill, and you got bolts right up on top there. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. You can see that. Let's get this in focus. Come on. You can do it. You can do it. A little too much. There we go. So you can see the grill there. And I simulated the gap between the 2 halves by recessing a groove down in there. And you can see the bolts in the corners there. So what those are on little L-shaped tabs that are welded to the inside of the housing, and then the bolt goes right through and screws right through to it. So what happened here, where this hole is when it came out of the printer, these lines were a little wavy, and these two stuck together. Even after I put it through the wash, I didn't really notice it because there was a bunch of wavy lines in here, and I didn't really notice it. And then I dried everything off and I put it in the cure station, and all the other ones straightened out good. Those two stuck together, so I just have to print out some new ones. But this is a test anyway. So I made this 670 thousandths in diameter, but when I increased the size of the ring to 10 thousandths, I did not take in account that I will be cutting this to 670 thousandths. Well, it worked out perfect, because although when I drew it to 670 thousandths, or 670 thousandths, it did not print out to 670 thousandths. It printed out slightly larger, or I'm sorry, slightly smaller. So it actually fit that perfectly. Now what I'm going to do to make sure that this housing is perfectly perpendicular, the cut is perpendicular, is I bought a 670 thousandths Reamer, and they're not cheap, but good. If you want to do the right things, good tools are worth their weight in gold. So excuse me. The other thing that's really good about when I mentioned about the shrinkage on this material is right after this grill came out, I glued it in from underneath. I put this this block right here. I put this on top. I didn't have the bolts in yet, so I put this on top and I glued it in. I glued it in from underneath, and that way when I glue it in, I can push it down against this block and get it even with the top of the housing. So once that's glued in and this grill starts to shrink, it has nowhere to shrink to because it's all glued in all the way around. So what that does is it causes these lines to straighten out even more and make this part like tight as a drum. So it works out really well. When you look at it from the top, it kind of looks like it is a little wavy, but when you look at it on end, it's like flat as a tabletop. It's beautiful. So let me see if I can get that in there for you. You can kind of see there. You can see how flat that top is. So it worked out really, really well. I really like the look of this grill, and I'm going to keep experimenting. Like I said, I'm going to do one that has like 7 thousandths wires and see if that makes the grill a little bit more robust. But actually these 6 thousandths, they don't look too bad. I think they look okay. I think they turned out okay, and I might just go ahead and print a couple more of these like this and take care of that. So the other thing I need to do, when you use a reamer, you have to be really accurate with your center. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a tool first that fits inside this lip, and it has a post on it that goes into the chuck in the mill, so that I can bring it down, and as long as the round part that I make fits this area centered, so I'll make sure it fits inside this lip perfectly, then I know I'm on center. Then I can come down with an end mill and mill all of this out. And when you use a reamer, there's a chart on how much undersize your hole should be so that the reamer can precisely cut it. For this one, the hole should be undersized by anywhere from 1/64 to 1/32. So I'll cut this out at 0.625, and then I'll make another ring gauge that goes in here that has a hole in it that I can trim it out to, I need to bring it up to like 40 thousandths, I think it is, because 1/32 is about 31 thousandths. So I just need to get it in that range and cut this out, and then I can just ream it right down in. I have a block that fits inside this shell so that I can hold it in the mill really tight and not clamp the shell, but clamp the block that's in there, and I'll take some really strong tape and I'll put it over the top. Let me pull back here. I'll put it over the top and tape it down to the block, and then while I'm reaming it, I'll just hold everything really tight so nothing moves, and just come right down and ream that out so it fits these fans, or fits these grills really good. For the fans, what I'll do is I'll just copy, basically use this as a reference, the KV models part as a reference. I'll make the blades, I'll make the hub as an assembly, put it all together, and then I'll make a piece that fits this hole underneath here and just locks it right up in there, because I need it to be flush with the inside of the hood because of where the speaker sits and all that. It'll sit right in here, and the weight and all that. So anyway, that's what I'm working on now. So my next really big task is hopefully I can get the side frames designed and have some really, really cool side frames. All right, so that's where I'm at right now with getting some design work done. Design takes a long time, but I think I mentioned it in a previous video. Once all this design is done, it's just build the models. But it's the design time that takes up most of your energy on the first model. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you keep your fingers crossed that I can be successful with all this. If this model comes to fruition, it'll be one of the best models I've ever built, as far as the enjoyment of it, the putting my own design work into it, and it'll definitely be painted and weathered. If I get all that fidelity in there, I have to make it pop with the weathering and stuff. So it'll hopefully that will go into the video as well. I started losing a little interest, but immediately it picked up when I was able to get these fans grills taken care of. I was like, wow, that's really exciting. So it picked up really fast. So I need wins to get my motivation to keep it, you know, strong inside of me and to keep me going on this. So Saturday will be a fun day. It's a 4.5 hour drive down, a lot of think time. I don't listen to radios and stuff like that. I just do a lot of thinking, a lot of designing in my head, you know, how I'm going to approach something, a lot of thinking about, you know, all the parts on the trucks, and, you know, I need to get that all done. So I'll get down there when the museum opens, and I'll leave when it closes at 4. And then the drive home just to reflect on what I measured, how I want to approach it, and if I think it'll even work. So hopefully these side frames are as thick, you know, front to back, as the real thing, or maybe even thicker, so that I can bring all of this together in scale and have some really cool side frames so that they have that, so when you look down in through them, you can see the distance between the front plate and the rear plate and all that stuff. Doing the springs was loads of fun. I really like that. But see, when I go down to the museum, I can measure the springs so I can get the real, you know, outside diameter, the pitch, the diameter of the metal used for the coil and stuff. And these springs actually are springs inside of springs. But I don't need to do that because you would never see it anyway. So again, keep your fingers crossed that I can get that done properly and build a really cool kit, because all the brake calipers, the brake hangers, and all that stuff would be really, really cool. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you're looking forward to seeing what I can do with this. I sure am. And again, if you made it all the way to the end, I really appreciate the time you've taken to watch my videos and help me be successful with these doing these videos and stuff. So thanks again. I really appreciate it.